is always at the top of the list in terms of making Williamsburg County and keeping Williamsburg County viable. We also have addressed a major issue, which is our our capital or our facility needs. We had, when we became county supervisor, we inherited a government that had a number of decaying facilities, and a lot of facilities which needed either complete renovation or new construction. One of the things that we did when we first became supervisor, our magistrate's office was in deplorable condition. The building was, was in a situation where it could have fallen in at any time. That's just how bad it was. We were able to identify some funds through debt service, some surplus in debt service, that we were able to purchase the old ASCA building, and by purchasing this building, we renovated the ASCS building, and was able to relocate the magistrate's office in. And shortly after we were able to renovate the magistrate's office, we received the county or the city's beautification award for having an outstanding looking facility. So, and that afforded the citizens a decent and a good place for our magistrate court to meet. We also relocated our Department of Juvenile Justice program in that facility. So it's located on Short Street. But in addition to that particular facility, we have a courthouse that was designed by Robert Mills, who is a nationally renowned architect from the 19th century. Wow. It was designed back in 1822. It designed and built in 1822, and our courthouse is on the National Register. However, the courthouse is in very deplorable condition, quite embarrassing from an appearance standpoint. Hasn't had any major renovation done in 64 years. In addition to the courthouse, we have an EOC 911 facility that was built back in the 50s, late 50s, 60s, that is in definite need of replacement. Our detention center, the county's jail, it was built originally back in the 50s. It seems to be a common thread that major construction and renovation seems to occur in the county in 50, 60-year increments. And we happen to have that fortune or misfortune to have it happen under our administration, where we are attempting to address it. An additional facility issue that we've confronted is our Department of Social Services facility, where we've leased that facility for the past 23, 24 years. We've leased it to the tune of $162,000 annual lease payments, and after 20 years, when the lease expired, the county did not have any path to ownership, unfortunately. So we spent about $3-4 million in taxpayers' dollars with still not being able to own that facility. When I became supervisor back in 2007, we approached the landlord and asked whether or not they would be interested in selling that facility. That facility, he said yes, they would be willing to sell it, but he would sell it to us for 10 years of lease payments. So if you did the math, you would be talking about $1.6 million, almost $2 million for a facility that's over 20 plus years old. And if you do the assessment and you do the appraisal, it wouldn't be worth that. So we were confronted with all of these facility issues, but I'm happy to say today that we, working along with our county council and with our staff, our financial staff, we've identified a way to address all of these facility issues. On this past Thursday, about 10 days ago, an historic event occurred in Williamsburg County's history. We identified a method that allowed us to issue Build America bonds. And the Build America bonds were afforded, this opportunity was afforded to us in the stimulus package that President Barack Obama passed, along with the help of our resident Congressman Jim Clyburn. As a result of the passage of the stimulus, they provided an opportunity where local governments could issue bonds, and on the interest from those bonds get a 35% credit on every dollar. So for every dollar or for every $100, we would get $35 back interest credit. What that afforded us an opportunity to do was to sell bonds. We had a $29 million bond issuance, and those bonds were sold, and the interesting thing, they were sold in $5,000 increments, and $410,000 of those approximately $29 million worth of bonds were purchased by Williamsburg County residents. And the rest of the bonds, we had anywhere from 1.5 to 2 times the amount of subscribers that we needed for the purchase. So over the next 2.5 years, you will see the renovation of the county's historic courthouse. You will see the construction of a new public service administration building, a new EOC 911 facility, the expansion of our detention center, along with a new sheriff's office. And all of this is going to be done over the next 2.5 years through a process called the installment purchase revenue bonds. We're going to do these projects in the next 2.5 years. Had it not been for the president's stimulus package and this installment purchase revenue bond opportunity, it would have taken the county over 30 years to complete a capital project that we're going to complete in about 2.5 years. So these challenges were extremely significant in terms of putting Williamsburg County in a position to address some serious facility needs. And the thing about these needs, Mr. Darnell, these are not fluff projects. These are essential services. When you start talking about your county courthouse, you're talking about your public service administration, where you're having every aspect of county government service delivery. You're talking about EOC 911, that's communication emergency. You're talking about a jail. While certainly, we don't relish in the fact of, building jails, but they are necessary for the county. Yes, we have to provide that. Right. So again, there's a number of accomplishments, and really within the confines of the revenues that the citizens can look at as an investment rather than tax increases, because we're only increasing the debt millage from 20.1, which is the current debt millage, to about 29.6, which is about 9 mils. And when you look at the amount of return on that investment and where that puts Williamsburg County in terms of showing that we are very viable in the credit market, and that we're going to have facilities that are attractive. I know that it's a kind of cumbersome process when you start talking about finances, but one thing I might add, that one of the reasons which allowed us to do this was that because we had our credit rating was increased. For the past 30 years, Williamsburg County credit rating has been either at a BBB, which is just investment grade, or even not even having a credit rating. But about 6 months ago, we were reassessed in preparation for this capital improvement plan by Standard & Poor's and Moody, and we've been upgraded from a BBB to an A3 and then an A+ in one of the rating agencies. So as a result of our upgrade and our credit rating, it has demonstrated the viability and the credit worthiness of the Williamsburg County government.
So you've been very, very busy, haven't you?
Extremely busy, and we're very excited about the future of Williamsburg County. We've expanded our services to the Hemingway area, where we have created or established a satellite office over there. We call it the Chavis One-Stop Complex, where we're providing services from that site in the Hemingway area, which historically there's always been a concern and a desire to provide services on that eastern end of Williamsburg County in order for it to be more convenient for the citizens there, where they won't have to travel for 30-40 minutes one way to get services, like to be able to pay their taxes, to receive other essential services. We have our auditor, we have our treasurer, we have our tax collector, we have our sheriff, we have a magistrate's office over there, we have our Veterans Affairs office, we have the not vital aging, but the alcohol and drug agency that is planning on moving into that facility. We have our Department of Social Services office. We have Williamsburg County School District's adult ed program there. We have a recreational program. We have a full-time recreation coordinator over there providing recreational activities at that facility. We have space available for the county supervisor and council and our development board. So again, that's a satellite office there where we are affording county services to the citizens on that end of Williamsburg County.
Thank you so much. You're listening to The Solutions with yours truly, Michael Darnell, your host. My guest this afternoon is Mr. Stanley Paisley, the Williamsburg County Supervisor. And I tell you, they have been very, very busy, as well as very, very productive with your taxpaying money. And I'm glad we have him here this afternoon, because a lot of things that he informed us of, I bet you more than half of us had no idea that they was working so hard for us. Now, if you'd like to join in on our conversation, simply dial 843-515-0081. Once again, that's 843-515-0081. We'll be back with Mr. Stanley Paisley and more right after